What's going on, guys? It's Mike for Sim Racing 604. This is the GT Lite by Next Level Racing. It's their newest cockpit. It comes in at an unbelievable $229 US for an entire racing cockpit. Also folds away with the wheelbase and pedals attached. Very impressive piece of equipment, and today I'm going to review it. Alright guys, so as mentioned, this is the GT Lite by Next Level Racing, and some of you might be wondering if I've already reviewed this piece of gear, and I almost did. You're thinking of the FGT Lite. So not that long ago I reviewed the FGT Lite, also by Next Level Racing. The F in the name meaning formula. So the previous cockpit that I reviewed was actually convertible to a formula style seating position, and you just turned the quick release Next Level Racing hubs and folded it basically lower into a formula position and then could drive from there. But this GT Lite actually doesn't have that, so it just has the upright GT seating position. So you might be led to wonder why they would release a new product with less features than the previous model, and the answer is price. So personally, I enjoyed the formula seating position. It was a bit uncomfortable on the neck, but I thought it was a cool feature. But what they've actually done with this one is managed to shave off about 25% of the price. So the FGT Lite is MSRP $299 US, which I think is a smoking deal for what you get. But this one is amazingly $229 US. That's an incredible price for a full cockpit. So normally at that price point you would just find a wheel stand. This one is not only a place to mount your pedals and your wheelbase, but also the seat to go with it, and all that folds away with the wheel and pedals still attached. So very impressive, very impressive, especially at that price point. So very excited to get into this GT Lite, and just as a follow-up to the FGT Lite, it's become my sort of backup rig. I keep it on the main level of my house typically, and it's nice because it's a full cockpit for when I do feel like sim racing on the main area of my house, but at the same time if we have guests over or just need a little bit of extra space, it's nice because it just folds up and can go away in the corner, and then just takes a minute to unfold because your wheel and pedals still attached. So I've been very impressed long term with my FGT Lite, and I would expect the same with the GT Lite. So let's go ahead and get this unboxed and start building. Alright guys, so before we get this unboxed, just wanted to run through some of the key features of the GT Lite. First and foremost, it does allow the mounting of a shifter, which is great, and also the wheelbase and pedals can be hard mounted to it. You don't just clamp on your wheelbase, you can actually turn bolts into it to keep it more firm, which is great. And the seat is made of a breathable fabric, has a breathable back, which is tremendous. For those who saw my FGT Lite review, I thought the seat was surprisingly comfortable. My usual rig, my GT Track, has an excellent seat, but the FGT Lite was surprisingly comfortable and had that breathable back to keep me nice and cool while I sim race, which I thought was great. This thing also has the Next Level Racing hubs to allow you to quickly fold this away. It happens very fast. I'll show you those hubs soon. I think they're excellent. And also this will allow you to bolt on a FGT Lite flight pack to turn this into a flight cockpit should you be so inclined. And it does have support for all of the major manufacturers like Logitech, Thrustmaster, and Fanatec. And what that means basically is the bolt patterns will allow you to mount those. And just a quick note on that, I mentioned Logitech, Thrustmaster, and Fanatec. If you have a direct drive wheel, this is probably not the cockpit for you. This isn't meant to withstand heavy duty forces at the wheelbase. You could lay the pedal deck flat, and if you have a load cell, I'm sure it would be fine. But for those of you who run a direct drive wheel, you should probably look for something a lot stronger, like the GT Track that I have. But this GT Lite, meant for sort of beginner to mid-level sim racers who use a gear-driven or belt-driven wheel, like your common G920, G29, T300, again, gear and belt-driven wheels. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get this open. right, guys, so build is done, and in what has become sort of a tradition on this channel, I fast forwarded through it and didn't show you guys my build. I'm terrible. I'm always losing screwdrivers and having to refer back to the manual and things, so I just decided it would be in everyone's best interest if I just skipped it. So I'll link below in the description if you want to see Next Level Racing build it. It took me about 20 minutes. All in all, very, very simple. I had to refer to the instruction manual only a handful of times. The only tough part was this shifter plate. Actually, the post was really tough to get into the hole, and I don't know why, but took a little bit of strength, a little bit of aggression to get it in there. Other than that, it is all together and very, very easy. So of course it is time now to mount some equipment and then take it for a drive to wrap things up. But yeah, the build was very, very smooth and good instructions for when I needed them during the build. So let's go ahead, get the G29 mounted and drive this thing. So my thoughts on driving the Next Level Racing GT Lite cockpit. Well, first things first, as you can clearly see on your screen, I'm a pretty tall guy. I'm about 6'6" or 2 meters tall, and it was a tight squeeze for me to get in there. That bar that comes across to hold the wheelbase just above my knees. So if you're any taller than 6'6" or 2 meters tall, I would not recommend this cockpit. I was able to get in there. I was able to get comfortable eventually, and thankfully that bar wasn't resting on my knees. So once I got actually settled into it, I found it pretty comfortable. I think the seating back angle was perfect, and that breathable back on the chair also helps keep you cool, and overall it was a very comfortable seating position. And you can see that even with a big guy like me in there, there's not much flex at all in that cockpit, surprisingly. I mentioned earlier that if you have a direct drive wheel, you would probably see a lot of that twisting forces and flex, but there wasn't much of anything to speak of, and it's very, very impressive at any price point, especially $230. So most people who use this will be smaller than me, so surprisingly sturdy for what it is. And yeah, overall I was just very comfortable. Now I come from a GT track, and I think that is definitely a step above. Having that proper racing chair does make a difference. If you're going to be into endurance racing or something like that, I would recommend you step up to a GT track or something of that grade rather than this GT Lite. But for what it is, I think it's surprisingly comfortable, and I was very, very impressed with it, the same way I was impressed with the FGT Lite. So overall, a good experience with this GT Lite cockpit. Alright guys, so final thoughts on the GT Lite by Next Level Racing. I think at the $230 price point, it's pretty incredible what they have been able to achieve with this. Getting a full racing cockpit, including seat and hard-mounted wheel and pedals, under the $250 US price point. Really incredible. With that said, I think that if you can find it in your budget to get up to the $300 price point for the FGT Lite, my recommendation between the two would be the FGT Lite. I like the ability to flip to the Formula seating position, but in terms of what you get for your $230 US for the GT Lite, I think you get a lot here. As I say, the hard mounting of the wheel and pedals is big. You're not just clamping on, and you guys saw it when I was driving it. There was really no flex or no twisting. It didn't feel flimsy when I was driving it, which is pretty remarkable. I'm not a small guy, and it felt remarkably solid. It's not as comfortable as my GT track, nor would I expect it to be, but as far as a intro to intermediate level racing cockpit, I think they've done really, really great with this GT Lite. And yeah, so I would recommend it to anybody who is on a fairly tight budget but wants a full racing cockpit. Having the ability to fold it away as well. If space is an issue for you, you can leave your wheel and pedals attached, fold it up in, you know, a minute or so, and have it tucked away in a small space. That's pretty awesome to be able to put your full racing cockpit in a closet. So yeah, I think it's really cool. As I say, if you can afford to go up to the $300 US price point and get the FGT Lite, that is my recommendation between the two. Or if you are looking to buy a direct drive wheel, this will not be the one for you. If you, of course, strapped a big direct drive motor onto here, you would really feel those forces, and I think it would start to feel flimsy, but it didn't for me with my G29. So very impressed for what you get for $230 US. Pretty awesome. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you next time.